Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Crow's Nest podcast. It's the 12th episode now, so it's been 3 months it's going, periodically. This is Evok,
DDZ.
and we're in to answer some of your questions.
I'm glad to be back this week after getting abandoned last week.
Well, you were also really busy with school, though.
Yeah, up until today, actually. I'm so happy it's over.
Is school finishing soon, or...?
No, I got...
No?
Well, it's actually closer than I would think. I got about a month and a half, a little over a month and a half left. A little less than 2.
So coming soon-ish.
Yeah. All my classes got slam-packed together, or I had, like, a presentation due with the paper on top of that, and then I had a test, then I had a debate, then I had a test, then I had another test, and it was just one day after the other, just like every day I was waking up at 6:30 and studying until I got to school, and then like studying. I'd take the test and get home and study, and then wake up at 6:30 the next morning and continue studying until I got to school and take that test, and then
Damn.
yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not at school anymore.
It's usually not that bad. It's just got very unlucky that they all just kind of crumpled together.
Yeah, like
But
sometimes it happened.
Yeah, I would rather taken them 5 days in a row than like having doubled up where I had like 2 tests on the same day.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. Alright, so we're gonna start with the questions?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So first up is Berserkap asking a question about Swedish hockey and the NHL in general. The first question is, who would you say is the greatest Swedish hockey player of all time, and why?
Yeah, and I told you this before we started, is I actually had to look up who is exactly Swedish. Like, I knew names, but off the top of my head, I couldn't just be like, oh yeah, that's definitely Swedish. And like we were saying, Matt Sundin coming up first on all time in points, and I want to say him just because of his points, and his points per game is the highest. Well,
He's
second highest.
Yeah, he's actually the second highest.
Well, no, there's third. There's another one down there too, who didn't play as long. In Nielsen. But yeah, I mean, Peter Forsberg's higher than him. That's an easy choice. Forsberg was amazing. But I'm gonna go with Lidstrom. I mean, I watched him play some in Detroit, and for a D-man to get 1,100 points and still put up .7 a game, and he was amazing.
For my part, who I think is actually, I don't exactly know. Probably, I'm a fan of goalie, to be honest, and the Swedish goalie that sits at the top of pretty much all the ranking is Lundqvist, who is also a really, really strong goalie. So for me, it would be like, I'm always looking more at the goaler before the players, so for me, it's one of the, like, probably the greatest hockey player right now.
I'll pass.
You'll pass.
I don't like Lundqvist.
Well,
he's a big diva.
I don't especially like him, but if I have to pick, like, with the player I have now, well, he's pretty much the only goalie that makes a really big impact on his team and everything.
Yeah, still, I don't like him. So for personal reasons, I refuse to pick him.
Well, it's fine. I mean, we can have different favorite hockey players. So.
Look at this list. Daniel Sedin's only 10 points off from 1,000, so that's pretty cool.
That's coming up pretty much this season.
Well, it's Vancouver, so we don't know.
Well, I mean, it's 10 points.
It's still Vancouver.
Sorry,
Canucks fans.
Yeah, and a name in Swedish hockey to keep an eye on is Backstrom.
Backstrom's ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's still fairly young.
He's 30.
Yeah. So you still have a few years in the tank and everything.
Yeah. Backstrom, I don't like personally. Not because he does anything wrong, just because he plays for Washington. He's too good. Zetterberg's there. I like Zetterberg. He's a good dude. I don't really care for the Wings much, but he's a really good guy, and he's closing in on 1,000.
Well,
He's probably
actually as old as the city, it seems.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot more left in the tank than they do. He's probably got like another 2 seasons. Well, maybe not as much left in the
He
tank.
was actually hurt. Like either he didn't play or he was hurt like more than them because
Yeah, he's been injured a lot.
You have 200 games less than the others.
Yeah, he was hurt a lot. So that probably hurt
help.
a lot.
Yeah, that didn't help.
If he was at where they're at in games played, he'd probably be around 1,100 points or so. I mean, he played a good part of his career with Lidstrom up there too. Looking at Alfredsson there too.
Yep.
I loved Alfie in Ottawa. I think that's where he played for most of his career. Ended up going to Detroit for like 1 season, and then I think he called it after that.
Yeah, so there's some pretty good names over there in Swedish hockey.
Yeah, you got a dad and a son on the list, and the Steens.
Yep.
And the Forsbergs, I'm sure. He's somewhere on there. No, he doesn't have enough points yet. He's too young.
Yeah,
he'll be on there though.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in point per. Yeah, Philip Forsberg is like 22 in point per game, so he's gonna get up. Like
yeah,
he's young, he's gonna get up.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's like 23 and already has 200 points.
And actually, like Nylander is also following him closely.
Yeah, Nylander's gonna be good. Maybe. I feel like Matthews is kind of carrying that team this season.
Matthews always gonna like carry, and we kind of forgetting one of the big name currently also, Erik Karlsson. Like he's not putting as much point because he's a defenseman, but he's there. But
as D-man go, I think I can pop that alone. He's number 1 in points per game. So, he'll be up there definitely. I mean, he's ridiculous.
He's 28 on the ranking for points actually.
Yeah, I mean,
5th defenseman I think. So he's there and he's playing. So he's gonna climb up.
Yeah, I mean, almost 500 points, and he's not even 30 yet. He's like 27.
Yep.
So, yeah. He'll be great one day. I mean, he's great now, but he'll definitely go down as one of the best if he can stay healthy.
Yeah,
because
that's a good question. But that's a big question in hockey in general.
Yeah, but he has had injury concerns, more so than a few other players. Like he played with a broken foot a lot of last playoffs. I think he had to have a chunk of his bone taken out or something like that.
Ooh.
And he just came back like 2 games ago for them, so he missed like the first couple weeks of the season.
I see. So yeah, that's pretty much circle the Swedish hockey players.
And then his next question is, does the national team for Sweden have a good shot at the Olympics? And I gotta say yes, anybody does, because NHL players aren't allowed to go.
Yeah, pretty much what TDZ just said. I think the country that will have the best shot is probably Russia, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of their players are gonna say screw it and go anyways.
Well, that or a lot of their good players are also not playing in the NHL, compared to, for example, Canada. Yeah, they are playing in the KHL, which is one of the best league in the world, after the NHL, and they don't have the same restriction to not go to the Olympic. As far as I know, I don't follow the media there, so.
I don't think they have any. I think NHL is the only league that has the restrictions.
Yeah, so that will that will make a huge difference in the Olympic. But they definitely everyone have definitely a chance this time, since Canada and the U.S. principally will be really like hurt by the fact that NHL doesn't allow them to go there.
Yeah, the USA doesn't perform up to snuff anyways. They have more talent than they play to, and that doesn't help with Tortorella being the coach.
Yeah.
And he likes those gritty players that don't really score as well. Like Kessel was off the last team in favor of like Abdelkader from Detroit. So, but at the same time, I think Sweden has a good chance. If my memory serves me correct, didn't they win the World Cup of Hockey last year? Or was that? I think they won it. I'm not positive, but they've definitely won a few of these international events. They almost always medal.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to follow in the Olympic. To be honest, I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it'll be weird. I think a lot of the Canadian players will end up being like OHL players and
OHL,
stuff like that.
Or like player in Russia and that kind of stuff. But that's gonna hurt a lot.
A lot of the American players are gonna be. I don't even know if our AHL players are allowed to go.
Yeah, that's the thing, actually. If our AHL player are able to go, that's actually going to be not too bad, even for Canada. It's still going to be shitty as hell, but, like,
yeah,
at least you have some, like, experience and not just send, like, kids.
Yeah, if not, then it's going to be college kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, for you. Yeah,
and it's not going to go well.
No, it's actually really not. Because, man, they're going to play against men. Like,
yeah,
they're going to play against Russia, which will be stacked as hell even without their top players.
Yeah, even if the players, like Ovi and some of those players that said they would go, anyways, even if they didn't go, you have players over there like Kovalchuk and Datsuk and these greats that were great over here still playing over there that aren't going to have those restrictions.
Yeah. So.
And they should dominate, but Russia likes to choke, so.
Yeah, that's going to be something to check as well.
And then why does the NHL hate international competition? And it's not that they hate international competition, it's that they hate international competition that their pockets aren't getting lined by.
Yeah, pretty much.
They had no problem doing the World Cup of Hockey because they funded it and they got all the money from the sponsors and everything.
Like, I'll be honest, I understand their decision to not go, but it's still really shitty. Like, it's like, it's an international competition. Like, I understand you're losing money, you don't get any coverage media. Like, the big real blame is on the IOC, International Committee for Olympic, ICU. I don't even know.
Yeah, I know what you talked about, but I don't know the what's it called, acronym.
Yeah, but the committee that actually just like refused to do anything for like to compensate or like allow to publicize or whatever the league. So it's like, okay, well, I understand, but it's really shitty for the athletes more than anything else.
Yeah, it robs them of a chance to really play for their country and have fun. You know, it's not like they're going there for money. They're going there for pride and to enjoy themselves. And they don't get to do that. And you can see it when they all talk about it, that they really want to play.
Yeah.
And instead, NHL would rather have some stupid all-star game that means nothing just because they can fund it, they get the money. And I did hear a rumor, though, that they're possibly looking at ditching the all-star game in favor of going back to international play.
Like,
but wouldn't be this year. So
Yeah. Like that would be like even then, like I don't mind. They can do any international competition, the NHL one and everything. But the Olympic are always something special for every country. Like you're not gonna see any like country be like, oh no, like I don't care about the Olympic as much, because even if you say that, you're still happy your country is getting medals.
yeah, and I mean, even in America, the sports that most people don't follow, they'll watch it because it's a chance for us to win medals and be prestigious.
Yeah, like and you say an example like you, I know for a fact when I was in Cégep, we were watching Olympics. We were watching at school sport that I would never ever watch in my life, like curling. Like, okay,
Yeah,
we were not watching actively, but it was playing in the background in the student association I was part of, and it was fun. We were talking about it. We were like, see me watching it. Like, I would never ever watch curling in my life if it wasn't of that.
yeah, like these past Summer Olympics. Was it last year? Yeah. Um, and Summer Olympics are boring to me usually, but well, somewhat. The Summer Olympic sports are boring, but because it's the Olympics, I ended up watching a lot of it just because I watched rugby matches, which actually aren't that boring, but like bicycle racing and sprinting and stuff, that's kind of just meh, but because there's a chance that your athlete's got to pull it out, you end up watching just for the excitement.
Yeah, so actually still really really sad that they are not allowing like athlete to goes.
It's hockey in the Olympics is really the only thing that I actually enjoy watching of all the sports.
Yeah,
Um,
like I
the
mean,
main
it's not the same thing, but I every year watch the World Juniors. I went last year. I'm planning to go this year in person since it's closed. So I also want to see adults playing that.
yeah. I mean, most of the sports, the other sports, the big ones like basketball, USA so stacked that nobody cares to watch anyways, and like baseball, I don't think the major players go. If there even is base, I think there's baseball in it, and like
Is there actually baseball?
yeah, I think like the Dominican Republic or something like that wins most of the time because there's a lot of really good Caribbean and Latin American players, and the USA doesn't really care to send. At least I know there's a World Championships with baseball and stuff.
Oh, actually, the baseball is not like I was curious. I went to check, and it's not playing at every game. It was actually cut in 2012,
Okay,
and it will return in 2020.
so I just skipped one
Two
one time.
actually, 2016 as well.
Well, they only go every 4 years, so.
Yeah, so twice.
You said it left in 2012, so that was the last year it played, or it was skipped that year too?
It was skipped in it was last played in 2008.
Oh, okay,
Skip in
okay.
12 and 16, and will return in 2020 in Tokyo.
Okay.
Because I mean it's Japan, so sure they're gonna want it. Actually.
They're probably well, I wouldn't say second biggest baseball country behind us. Like I said, there's a lot of like Latin American players that
Yes.
love baseball, but of the countries that really enjoy baseball, they're one of the tops.
Yes. So it's actually about, but
Surprisingly.
So, yeah. Well, you don't have to be that good to love a sport.
Yeah. On a different note, I did put this questions in the St. Louis locker room and was told by Bobby Watson to just tell you hi instead.
Oh, that's nice, actually. Hi, Bobby.
All right, on to the next questions. From Clint, our ever-loving question provider. And he gets into the real topics here, SHL related, back to that.
Yes, sorry for the long, 20 minutes of
Yeah.
international hockey.
So, thoughts on the Blues fan suspension along with Wojci's $4 million fine. And this was a very controversial subject, it seems, over the last couple weeks or week, whatever, however long it's been. And it's been, it seems like it's one of many that have been just coming lately.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I never even read the comment after the first, 4 or 5 on the post. So I don't actually know if it's controversial or not. But I can totally, guess it is.
Yeah, it really wasn't about the suspension, it seemed, as much. I cannot find this damn punishment thread. I thought it was in the announcements, but it's not in the suspensions thread. Or I just missed it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be there. Let me go check too.
No, Bukes is there, Sammy K is there, Sammy's there. I don't see his. Regardless, we can talk about it without seeing it exactly.
Yeah, it's in the is it this one? SMGHL announcement? Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Blues fan continued to update past the 350 cap. Woj didn't do the math and continued to update him as well. And I think it ended up at a decent medium for both. Well, I mean, Woj probably got fined a little too much, but at the same time, and I'll get to that in a second, I don't know if the fine amount was proper, but the fine was definitely deserved. Blues played, 9 games?
Yes.
Over the cap, so getting suspended for 7 was good, and actually we appealed the last one, so he only ended up serving 6. So I thought that was a pretty fair punishment. He could have easily been punished the 9, which, as I heard, was getting called for. Each game he played, he doesn't get to play it as well. So I thought his punishment was fair. He should have known to not go over the cap, and I know that us mentors in the chat for season 36, as well as me and Joe and Dizzy being in the St. Louis locker room, have reiterated it plenty of times to him. So that's totally on him. Just not listening or not caring. I'm not sure which.
Or not understanding.
And, and it could just be a slip of mind, not even thinking about it. So I'm not going to fault him. He served his suspension, and he was happy to serve it. Well, not happy, but glad to serve because he knew he was in the wrong. So he wasn't going to be mad about it. As far as Woj goes, I saw a lot of people saying, he shouldn't have been suspended because it was just a mistake. And that's a huge, huge mistake. And I think some people were saying stuff like, he was just autopiloting. It's not really that big a deal. He shouldn't be fined this much because he just kind of autopiloted through it. And that, I think, is the exact reason he got fined. He should have got fined. And while I don't really care for the amount as much, it honestly sends the message of do not fucking autopilot as an updater anymore, because this is what happens when you do. You're getting paid to do your job, so do your job, check the links, check the math. I did every single fucking time when I was an updater. I'm still backup, but I don't really do it much. But I know it took a little extra time and you don't want to do it, but that's what you're there for. So you shouldn't auto go through and be like, oh, it looks good, and just approve it and put it in. Because how many other fucking updates are messed up now that you have no idea about because you just auto went through them anyways without checking them? And this is the first one that got found because Connor actually did the math, which good on him for finding this, because this could have been very bad if it went the whole season. And I'm glad it got found early. And all these updaters, and I'm one of them, and we have to check everything. That is what we get paid a good amount of money for. You know, backups don't get but $500K, but they're not sitting here doing this every week. But the full-timers, as long as they're not missing stuff, Snuff pays them very well. I made $10 million my first season doing it. So they get paid very handsomely to do this. They should not make any mistakes, and they should take their damn time.
Like, you cannot put anything else in my mouth that wouldn't sound like you just said. Like, you were on point on everything that was said. Like, about the amount of game for Blues, the fine for Wazzy. Like, even I'm like, I personally don't care of that amount. Like, some people might think it's fine. Some people might think it's too much. Some people might find it's not enough. I don't know if someone complains it's not enough because it's still a huge amount of money, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
But he still made a good amount for the season for all the team he did. So 4.5 million is like TDZ said, a really good way to send a message to everyone. Don't fuck up. Like, the cap in junior was there for a reason. So it needs to be like to still be like this, and it needs to be respected by the updater. Else, it can give any kind of advantage to a team that, like TDZ said, might not be found. What if Wozzy had done his update that day? What if, like, if he did, would he have noticed? Would he have said anything? Like, I would hope so. But if he didn't notice, like, that could have continued. And, okay, at the end of the season, what happened if it get noticed?
Yeah, what if we go on to win the cup, and it comes out that he's at 440 TPE or some shit like that by then, and it just gets noticed then? Do we wipe the whole season? You know, do we just ruin everybody's season because of one mistake?
Chaos and sure. Like, the SMGHL would implode, to be honest.
Exactly, yes.
I would probably disappear to not deal with that.
If you took the cup away from us, then that's going to cause a riot. If you didn't take the cup away, that's going to cause a riot. There's no right answer to it. Again, I'm so glad that it was caught at 9 games, or how many ever games before he got. And that we could take care of it early, get this resolved, and get back to the season. But again, my biggest thing is with Wozzy, it's like, oh, it's a simple mistake. But how did he not notice when he was updating the roster page that it was over 350 TPE, and then inputting it into the SMJHL, like the St. Louis updates in the player updater forum that you give to the simmer for them to input into the sim? So he had to have seen that he was inputting 400 TPE or 390 TPE and then putting that into the updates. So there was every chance for Wozzy to know, oh, crap, this is over 350. And if he did, maybe it was laziness that he didn't want to go back, or maybe he just didn't notice because it was just, like some people said, he was just autopiloting it and didn't care. And that can't happen.
Yeah, so, like, for me, the amount was fine. It was also switched teams. He's now in the SHL, so there's no cap anymore. That's easy. Like, there's no fuck up on that. And for blue suspension, I'll be honest, the head office actually spent hours discussing that. Like, it can look funny to say hours because it's still like only a small punishment, but we went over multiple options, including, like, do we remove a pick? Do we send a player up? Do we suspend him? What do we do? Because any option are in a way unfair. Because a player, I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to do bad. Like,
I mean, you can talk to Blues for 5 minutes and know that he didn't mean to do it. That's just the type of person he is. He's just kind of, great kid, great heart, but he just kind of is scatterbrained in some ways when it comes to the site. And that's fine. He's still learning, and we're still teaching him. And he's learning every day more and more and more. But one thing skipped his mind and ended up being a big one.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. Like, we knew it wasn't on purpose. We know, like, it should have been caught. Like, anything should have happened to prevent that. But it did. Okay, what position do we take on it? Like, we cannot consider any fact of, like, character on the spot. Because what if it happened on by someone on purpose? Like, if we go lightly now, like, we set a precedent to go lightly on that. So we spent actually, like, a good amount of time discussing it.
Yeah, I think it was fair. It really wasn't a good way to go about it because it's an individual player's fuck up, and no matter what, it was going to hurt the team.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of us weren't happy about it, but it wasn't that we were disappointed or pissed off at y'all because we're losing a player or potentially losing a pick. It was just disappointed that it came to this. And so we knew it was fair. You know, he went over. It's technically cheating. He served a suspension, and that's fine. And we were, you know, I talked to Joe about it. We talked about it in the locker room among players. Everybody was like, well, this fucking sucks, but we got to bite the bullet. There's no way around this. It's wrong. It needs to be rectified, and it was. So, yeah, I think it was handled pretty well overall from all sides. Nobody really threw a fit from the teams or the players. It was people on the sidelines that were complaining about this one.
Yeah, I didn't check as soon as people started complaining. I was like, nah, I'm out.
I kept up with a little bit. I didn't really comment in it just because a lot of times I was at school and on mobile and didn't have I wasn't going to sit here and try and keep up with the conversation on mobile. I would just check every now and then and be like, oh, this is what they're talking about now, because you can kind of get the gist of what the conversation is shifted to just with the most recent stuff. And so it helped for the podcast, which I knew would probably come up. So that's kind of why I kept up with it a little bit, but I didn't really care. And it's the same thing in the next question, which we're about to get into, with Sammy's suspension. I haven't kept up with the comments that much, but this one should be a much easier talk.
Yeah.
So thoughts on Sammy's suspension?
Deserve it, in my opinion?
Yeah. I mean, it was stupid.
It was.
I understand he's trying to make a joke, but so was Clardy, and Clardy got fucking hit. So why even attempt that?
Like, what I would have, say maybe would have passed to do that joke is to quote the post of Clardy. But even then, that's playing with fire.
Yeah, I'd rather quote Clardy or put something stupid in the fucking, like, season 38 chicken sandwich or something, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to fucking put
numbers
that are actual amounts and that are feasible amounts for the fucking...
Yeah, like, so, totally deserved. Like, no doubt about that. Don't choke with contract, like, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think from Sammy's perspective is he didn't read the entire rules, and he probably thought tampering could only be done by GMs. And
yeah, but read the fucking rules.
That's on him to read the rules. I'm not trying to say that he wasn't in the wrong at all. That's the rules. He broke them. He deserved everything he got. It was just stupidity.
Yep.
And he should know better because he almost got in trouble with it with IHF.
Yeah, actually, he went really close to get in trouble with that. I wouldn't have been, like, as nice as them with him. Like,
I
it's
think,
literally written in the book.
Was it Evans or Danko? One of them was like, we're going to give you a pass since it's literally your first day.
But, like, it's your first day, still read.
Yeah. All right, next one's going to be highly controversial and stupid and...
Highly controversial? No.
Have you seen how many pages are in this stupid fucking thread at this point?
No. But
like,
For me, it's just like, okay, bye.
Okay, in the suspension thread alone, there's 5 pages. But if you go to his retirement,
Oh, well, wait, 5 page of what? Like, of...
just people talking about his suspension.
No, it's fine. I know, like, I have 40, like, comment per page, so for me it's 2 page.
Oh. I mean, I don't know how many comments I have per page. And then there's like another 4 pages or so in the player retirement thing. So
it's not controversial. Everyone agree with it. Bye.
Well, that's the thing, is it's just, it caused an uproar on the site.
So what we're talking about is Sammy K, suspension, retirement, and him overall. So for those who are not up to date, Sammy K, which is a user that joined recently, we're not gonna name who like he got semi-invaded by, but just FYI, the name are kind of similar.
To be fair there, though, Sammy never, I'll say it, I don't care. Sammy never brought him in. Sammy brought people in, and those people brought Sammy K, and Sammy had no intention of bringing Sammy K in because he knew this shit would happen. So I'll give Sammy that on that one.
Yeah, that's a mad props. Okay, so what happened is Sammy K joined, created a player. 1 week later, Mr. Magnificent, I think?
Yeah, Magnificent.
Magnificent joined the forum. Guess what? It's a multi. 1 week after.
Yeah. And then took him all of less than 24 hours to gladly boast that it was a multi in every single Discord chat that he could.
Yes! This is actually what made me laugh the most, especially since Eggy literally said it, like, in the suspension thread. Like, if, when confronted about the multi, Sammy K came clean and admitted to making a second account, both to the head office and in just about every SSL Discord chat there is. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
This kid was cancer?
Yeah, I don't like using that word because everybody uses it at this point, but if there was going to be someone to use that word on, it would be him.
Yes.
The most immature kid I think I've ever met or had the pleasure or displeasure, actually, of talking to in my life, and I'm a substitute teacher, so jeez, I mean, the angry faces, the clout stuff.
I cannot see that emote anymore. Like, each time I see it, I have, like, war flashback.
PTSD and shit.
Yeah.
And then, like, the clout stuff and the disrespecting my name stuff, the exposing Sammy stuff. I mean, it was just a joke.
Oh, I'm so glad he's gone.
And the one thing that pissed me off more than anything is the day that Mr. Magnificent showed up, I was the one to message him as a mentor. And I was the one online in the Discord at the time when he asked for help on his update page. And I spent an hour teaching him how to set up the update page and all the point tasks and explaining everything perfectly, when he had this already with his first player and knew exactly what the fuck he was doing. So all he did was waste my time.
Yeah, I feel really bad for you about that, to be honest.
I mean, I don't feel bad as much as I wasn't doing anything that day. I was literally sitting around on my ass. I think this was right before my test or something. Or I was just being lazy and procrastinating. That was probably more the answer. But it just... And he wasn't even he didn't act the same. There's no way I could have known that was a multi from the Discord, because he didn't act like an immature dickbag or anything like that. Like, he was literally like, okay, thank you, and sorry that this is taking so long. Like, he went into full, like, acting to make sure that nobody would know that was a multi for that day, at least, until he decided to come clean 24 hours later.
In 24 different places.
Yeah. All right. Off of that subject,
Yes.
so we could forget him forever. He can go down in the annals
I'm,
of
I'm never
SHL
gonna
history.
be able though. Like the issue with that is I'm never gonna be able because of the fucking emote.
Yeah, and I use it all the time now. All right. Thunder 39 Hunter Jones
You
got
skipped
HO
one.
enter. Oh, I did. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
He's doing pretty great so far, for my part.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to him a lot. He messages me on Discord sometimes, and I'll help him with stuff if he has questions. Because I don't see him talk in the season 38 chat too much, which really nobody does. But I'm happy that some of the players that I've personally helped at least still come back to me if they have questions as a mentor, instead of just kind of not asking anybody and not knowing. Like I love when they ask questions because I want them to get the most help that they can. And if they're not asking questions in their locker room, then please come to us so we can help. That's what the mentors are here for. I would be glad to help at any time. Chris is glad to help at any time. You know, some of them are more busy than others, like Dizzy. He's got graduate school, but if you messaged him and he saw it, you know, he would help you. That's what we're here for. So I like the kid a lot. He's always coming to me with help. He actually asked me about the intern position stuff, if I knew anything about it, which I'm not in head office, so I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I think I asked you about it, actually. And I was just like, I mean, you're great, so hopefully you can get it. I don't know what the applications look like and whatnot, but I think he'll do a great job.
Yeah, so far, like, he makes sure to do everything like it's supposed to be. He doesn't hesitate to ask, like, oh, did I do it good? Like, and when we say, oh, you could, like, fix this or fix that, like, he does it. He doesn't complain, so, like,
yeah,
it's great.
He's a good kid. He's actually who I wanted in the draft, and who I was pushing Joe and Ryan to get with my scouting. And when Kelowna took him at 6 is when I shifted to Bobby. So you can thank Kelowna for not getting Bobby.
Fuck you, Sammy, man.
All right. Next, or we'll go back to that question on the podcast with thoughts on being nominated for Izzy's Potty Mouth Awards.
I want to first start to say, are we actually nominated?
Yeah.
Like,
I think
just everybody is, actually.
Yeah, I think this is what it is. It was up there. Let me go check. I think it was in SHL Media.
Because, like, for my part, when I saw the post, I just thought, like, oh, here's who could possibly, like, get something one day. But not like, oh, you're nominated for this award or that award. So I was like, okay.
He has a list of, the podcasts that are eligible for him. And then he's trying to come up with some of the categories. He has 4 categories so far that have been released to the public accordingly, which are Potty Mouth Pod of the Year Award. And then the Tweedledum Trophy, named after the creator of the I'm Stone check-in thread. And it's an award given to the podcast which offers you the greatest chance of a contact high when listening. I don't think we're going to get that one, even though I'm always high when we do this. The Rookie of the Year pod, which I'm going to guess goes to any
new podcast.
Yeah, I think there's a couple in there. And then Podcast Best Guest Award, which we're so bad at that. So,
we had one guest.
Yeah, one guest. And rookies, I know Thunder's on there. And, well, I think the Riot Cast. Bruins Fanatic's a recreate, but he was technically part of the rookie class last season, and I don't think he's done one since then, so it might be them two going at it. I love that CK's on there.
What?
And he did anybody that's done at least 2. I think, or something like that in the past, like, so many months.
Yeah, but it's weird.
He won't win, so it doesn't matter. He's not here. If he does win, he's going to accept it.
If he wins, I'm gonna riot. I am gonna pull in Vancouver on that.
No, I think it's between us, maybe the Kebab Cast, but they haven't had very many. They're still good. Evans would be a big one. The Big Slappy Hour is the big one. MC's going to MC podcast for Clardy. I think those are the other three big hitters. Because they're always consistent. They do crap every week. Evans is like 38 of them or some shit like that. So you should know you're on it. Abandoning me.
I was there one day when we spent like an hour 30 talking.
Yeah, you can get the guest award with him.
That's actually true. There's not a lot of people that actually do guests, so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried, but it's hard to implement them. We're starting to get a little bit more steady time, though, so maybe we can get back into it. Maybe. The second I say that, it'll be another week of school like last week, and shit went haywire. So maybe we won't. That way school doesn't come back, right? School, karma, everything. Please no. Overall thoughts, though, I think it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, it gets him money. It gets everybody to have some fun. Izzy loves doing the media stuff like that. You know, he did the Twitter stuff and the brand Izzy stuff, and he just loves that stuff, and he does it really well. So I think it'll be a really fun thing. You know, he's going to do the whole show and make it this whole big red carpet affair. I'll follow along, not even just because I'm part of it, but because I just think it'll be fun. All right. Thoughts on the Kelowna St. Louis trade, which is the one that we received Noah in. And this one was kind of controversial in the ways that people arguing over who won this trade or who lost this trade. So for those that don't know, which I'm sure most people do, Kelowna received our second round pick. Well, a conditional second. It's our second round pick next season, but if we win the 4-Star Cup, then it becomes their second round pick that we have. So they're probably going to finish lower in the standings, so that would be a better pick for them, kind of thing. And then they received our 4th round pick, and then they received their 4th round pick back. And then our 4th round pick in the next draft, Finn Jacobson, who's at like 338 TPE, that's Pope, and then Mark Morrison, who's a rookie we drafted this season. And then we received Noor and Andre Schrick, who are both capped. So a lot of the controversies come from people saying that Kelowna lost this trade hardcore and that Joe fleeced them. And I don't believe that to be what's true at all. We got Noor, but we traded back Finn. So we got a 350 rental sniper and gave them almost a capped inactive. I think he's 2-way for Finn. I think his scoring is higher, but he's a little bit more checker and stuff like that. So he can be used in a different role, which is very much rare than snipers. Like, we're full of snipers already. So, and because he's inactive and he doesn't have a ton of TPE, but he's right there at the cap, they'll get him for probably the rest of his time on the site that his players down in juniors, the full 5 seasons. And we're on, season 3 now, so they'll get him for another 2 seasons. They got a prospect back, and they got 3 picks. 2 of those in Reddit drafts. So that 4th round pick, some people overvalue it. That was an argument in this thread too about the overvaluing of Reddit picks, but it's not that it's overvalued as much as that 4th round pick has a much higher chance of being active or even making it 4 rounds. And and we got back a capped D-man and a capped sniper that are rentals. So, in my opinion, I think it was a fair trade both ways. Kelowna got future considerations and a player that's going to help them immediately as well as for the next 2 seasons. And we got 2 players that can potentially push us over the top, though we haven't been playing super great with them so far. But I think that I'll get into that after.
For my part, my thought about it, I have personally two things I dislike about that trade. Like, I'm not even gonna talk about like value. For my part, I have 2 things I like. There's a round. First, I think Kelowna pulled the gun really too fast to trade players. They were still possibly in a playoff spot, fighting actually with you guys and probably Detroit to go at that moment to go in the playoff. So for me, I think they should have waited a bit longer before selling players, which like would probably have resulted with the same things, or maybe more with higher buyer. Like for example, maybe Prince George could have wanted them at that moment to make an even further push, or all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was really early in the season to do those trades, and I personally don't agree with trading GMs. That's my personal opinion. I think like GM's players should stay on their team as long as they're in junior. Like I know there's no way to screw around the other teams when in junior when you're capped, but for me it just looks weird to see a GM trading their players. So that's my personal opinions about that.
As far as the GM trade goes, I can see that. I really am just indifferent about it. I don't care either way if they do or don't. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just I didn't even know it could happen, honestly, until this started coming up. So it was a little weird, but at the same time, I mean, if you're going, you're getting called up next season, and you want to get some value back for your team. GMs are almost always going to be one of the most valuable players on the team, and you're going to get something. And anything's better than nothing. And as far as the jumping the gun, I talked to Noah about this a little bit, and he was talking about it to me. And every sim that they've done, they didn't win. Every single one. So even with sim Lux, and they ran a lot, there was no way that they thought they had a chance to win the cup. With or without sim luck, with the best team possible. Like, they probably could have made playoffs, but just about every single one, they got beat in the first round. And I don't think they ever made it out of the second. Or if they did, they never won the cup anyways. It just – every sim just came back big red flags. So they went ahead and pulled the trigger now because whether Sammy loves making moves, which is pretty evident, or they just wanted to get it done. And I think in a way it gives Noah a chance to gel with the team and potentially chase the cup. And that helps as well.
So I agree with your point of like, okay, I don't see us winning, but I'm also thinking about the players in those teams, like in that team that just got drafted, and see they have a decent team making a like close playoff run. I would have been upset. Like if I wasn't in like, I knew when I was going in like Halifax, the first year kind of sucks. I knew when I was getting it. That's fine. But if I was getting in with a team that's like kind of fine, and then my GMs sell 2 of our biggest players, I would be like, wait, like I didn't know my season would suck.
And see, I would have to look at it in this way, and I would hope to God, and I know that they probably would because it's Nor, and I know it's Sammy, but he's not a terrible GM. He does pretty decent in GOMHL too. Or at least, I mean, his team's bad, but he's got a good future because he did the same thing here. When it needed to be rebuilt, he rebuilt it really well, and it's still building, but eventually it's going to be pretty good as long as they don't pull a Hamilton and just keep selling prospects.
Yeah.
So I'm almost confident they probably spoke to those players before they pulled this trade off and explained the situation. Explained it with, hey, we're not going to win this season. We're going to get some pieces back, and next season, with you guys leading the way and more great rookies coming in, because they had a good class this season, and with the picks they have, they can have another good one with this Reddit draft, hopefully, as long as they do some good scouting. And they can build a team that next season will start to compete, and the season after that will probably pull like Halifax did, where they're going to be really stacked. And, it's short term. When you know you're not going to win, it's better just to go ahead and, it's not like they got rid of players that are going to be back next season. Andra Schreck's been there for forever, and Nor's definitely going up. And so they got rid of some players that they can get some value of before they leave, and then they can continue the rebuild, and they still have every single one of their prospects. They didn't have to give up any of that.
Here's the reason why I hope, like you said, they talk to their player, but I have doubts. No Knights alumni seems to have known what happened. Like, I mean, the first, if I remember right, in the thread, the first comment of Jenny was like, "What the fuck, Sammy?" Like, I would assume Jenny is still, like, in the Discord.
Yeah.
So if, like, they discussed about it in the Discord, that would probably not have been their comment.
And maybe they didn't discuss it beforehand, but as the trade happened, they're like, this is why we did it. This is, our thinking behind it. And, GMs don't have to say they're doing stuff to their players.
No, it's true.
And most don't.
But, like, it's still, like, I'm also thinking of the player. Like, even if the GM would explain to me after, I would have still been, like, mad as hell, like, at the moment.
To an extent, but at the same time, like, I know if you explained it as, hey, we were not winning, like, no matter what we did, we're not going to win, then I would understand, be like, okay, I want this team to be as best as possible. I'm not getting called up next season no matter what, probably, unless some stupid shit happens. So I'm going to be back next season better than ever. Probably be back the season after that, unless you end up on a team like San Francisco that just has nobody and they need you. And, chances of multiple of them ended up there is slim. So I think it was the right move. And I think the players, if given the facts, would hopefully understand and not jump to these wild conclusions and these accusations and just hot-headedness for no reason.
So, yeah,
but you
that's
never
my
know.
thought. Like, it was, in my opinion, a bit too early, and I personally don't like GMs trading their players. Like, those are my only thoughts. I don't even care about the value, to be honest. For me, it's a pain in the ass. I'll be honest. Even though you're not playing that great with them, so it's good. Yeah, we're gonna move on because we still had more question after.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of speed these up a little bit because we're already hitting an hour. Do you guys listen to any podcasts that aren't your own?
I listen to Evan's podcast, and that's pretty much all.
I listen to the Thundercast because, like I said, I've been talking with Thunder a little bit, and his are pretty short, so I can listen to him fairly simple because he hasn't gotten up to a super long one yet. If it was longer, then we'll see because my time's kind of strapped in sometimes. And I started to listen to the Evans podcast with you in it, and I got like 10 minutes in, and I got sidetracked with something else, and I was able to get back. I told you I can do like 10, 20 minutes to listen to this stuff, and then I get busy. And like it's hard for me to sit down for an hour, hour and a half with you.
I listen to it at work, so like I don't listen to it, but I listen to it.
I mean, I was actively listening to it, but I just didn't get around to.
Okay, next up is, has anyone ever angered you to the point where you've thought about Thunderdroming them? I suggest to leave out name out of it unless it was me.
I don't think I've ever been close to Thunderdoming someone because I'm not that type of person. I'm not gonna go run to a thread to say something. Because I think that's kind of if you have a problem, especially with something that's being said in another thread, then say it. And I mean, it's pretty evident that I feel that way with what happened on the Weekend Fun Time.
That was so great.
And I apologize, Chris, if you do listen to this, though you probably don't with your school. And I apologized in the Weekend Fun Time that it devolved into that mess. But again, some members of the site piss me off a lot. But I'm not going to go into detail about it because it's neither here nor there, and there's no reason to make a big deal about something that isn't a big deal at the moment because they haven't been that bad lately except for that Fun Time thing.
For my part, I actually did a fucking weak as fuck Thunderdrome, mostly as a joke, but it was not because I didn't think of it. Next up, who has a more job between you two? Probably me?
Yeah, definitely gotta be you.
I still haven't resigned from, backup updater and auditor, so I mean...
Yeah, I'm not gonna resign from the updater just because if I do feel like it at one point, it's there. So I got that, I got Mentor, I got co-head of Ireland, but that's tied with you because you have head. So, and then I just got hired to the awards committee, so that's 4.
Yeah, let me check. I had it in the roll call. SMGHLHO, Twit Banker, Auditor, Backup Updater, PvP Director, Ireland Head, and I was cutting for Halifax and you.
Yeah. So I think you win.
Yeah. The only thing I'm not touching is media grading, grading in general. So, and I don't want to do that as well. That can be.
Let's skip the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Kuni, I love you. We're moving whenever you want. Okay.
Oh yeah. Bye. I'm sorry that you're moving to Yellowknife of all places.
We're gonna skip this next question as well from CFG because that's too close to tempering for my liking.
Yep.
And Blues. So we're gonna
quickly
go quickly over you because I'm sorry for that.
We wasted too much time with Swedish hockey players.
Pretty much, actually. Most surprisingly, SHL team right now. For me,
let's look at these standings.
It's. I was looking at it, and I was actually surprised to see Seattle at top, and match prop for them, especially since many of the player was considering them at the bottom last season.
I'm not surprised with Seattle. They did well last season. They just called up people. They didn't lose. I don't think anybody.
I wasn't expecting them to do that well though. I was expecting them to do fourth, third, not first.
I figured it would be us, Winnipeg, and Seattle. Us being Calgary for the top 3, and it could have been any of them. I'm actually surprised that we're playing as bad as we that we are right now, because I feel like we can play better, and it's just not gelling right now until we find out what works. But at the same time, I think those 4 teams that are in the top 4 right there are probably the strongest teams in the West. So I'm not surprised with any of them. Hamilton actually has been surprising for me that they've been so well, and New England so bad.
Yeah. So pretty much the same for me. Next up is who's been the most underrated player on your corresponding team?
Are we talking
Underrated.
juniors or
Juniors.
SHL?
I'm gonna go with junior. Like,
Alright.
I love the Wolfpack, but I don't love them as well.
Not till I'm there, yeah.
Underrated, man. I don't know.
Underrated. Alright, let's see what we got going on here.
I actually really don't know because, like, everything that's producing for us is, like, our top line is producing like hell. The top pairing defenseman as well. And already on the second pairing, there's already issues with producing. So for me, underrated, I can't name anyone on my team.
Yeah. Mine, the only one that comes to mind for me would be Seth Page, our D-man, because he hasn't been really scoring near as much. And granted, our top 4 D-men are getting a ton of time right now. So he's getting a lot more time than he has been, but I mean, he's got more points than me. The only one with more points overall is Andrus, who is basically about this. Oh no, he's a little bit higher pace than him since coming over, but
like you just got as well.
Yeah, and we just got him, and you know, Seth plays with Tor, ER's player on the second line, who's a penalty machine. So it's as well as he's done. I mean, his plus minus is going down, but a little bit. But he has 18 points. He has 5 goals, which is really good. He's been a power play machine, so I think that's been great. He's got 4 of his points on the power play, including 3 goals. So for me, that would be who's underrated. All right.
Oh, wow. When did I get a shortened goal? Oh, sorry. Well, actually, like, I noticed today that Lucas Muller got a shortened goal, and I'm looking at the line now, and I have a PKG. I'm like, what? When? So sorry for that. I got sidetracked. But yeah, I cannot name anyone on Halifax. So next question up, TTC. Why are you the best award committee member ever?
I'm not. I haven't done my job yet.
That's actually pretty much it, to be honest. You haven't even done anything.
Yeah, I won't do anything till the end of the season. So we'll see how it is working with Zune. I'm excited to do it. This is like Mentor. I didn't get this job just because I wanted money. Because I mean, Mentor pays a little bit better, but this pays nothing basically. So I think it's like $500K or something like that to do it. I just wanted to do it because I thought it seemed like a fun job. And
one suggestion for you, if you don't want to be buttered the hell out by Zune, do it fast. Sorry Zune if you listen to this, but I heard like stuff about last season.
Yeah, getting added to the award committee forum and being able to back read has been vital for that. So, and then for you, why are you the best SMJHL head office member ever?
That's not true because it's Evans.
Yeah, I would have to go with Evans. I mean, he's pretty great.
Yeah.
And I like beating his fighters in the SFC.
I'm hoping Priest listened to that and like she's
having a heart attack right now.
Yes, that's gonna be so funny. All right, that's all I had to say. And why are you two so awesome? I'm begging to know. You're still not awesome as me, no.
Wow, humble brag there.
Yes. I don't know. I'm not awesome, to be honest. I'm just me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess be yourself if it's the moral of this. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, Blues. You're the best, I guess.
Yeah, you can be best at 390 TPE.
Oh, wow! That's harsh, actually. Oh, well.
Oh, well. And I think that's it for questions. We definitely got over an hour, which thank you everybody for the questions that came in right at the end.
Yep.
Because there was like 2 when we started this.
Well, we would have enough, though, with the 2.
Yeah.
That's the thing, Clint.
Well,
you're making our life so easy.
Between Clint and, getting on the suspension talks, but then our ranting on Swedish hockey and Olympics,
Yes.
that didn't help. So I apologize for the people that we flew through their questions.
You can blame Sergap.
Yeah,
if you want to
you blame him.
Someone.
So thank you everybody again. It's always great to have some questions to make some money. Love talking about this stuff for y'all so y'all can get some entertainment out of it.
Yep.
And I think that's all we got. Hopefully we can do this again next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure I don't have anything going on in school for at least a week.
I think I'll be fine too, I think.
So, alright everybody, good night. This has been TDZ.
Evok.
And we'll see y'all next time.